So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm not taking the blame for this, nor is Paddy. The Villa admins had a nightmare. It's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes before the hours when you do it, man. That's not fair. It's 10 minutes before the hour. It's our one thing. It's our one thing that we had was Team Sheet Tantrum that no one else does. You have to go in and you have to do that in the biggest day of the flipping year.
Do you know what the ironic thing here is, Neil? In your intro sheet, there.
Yeah, I had it right.
20 past 4. If you'd have got it 20 past 4, we'd have got there.
That's why I was saying it was 5:30 all last night. Yeah, so if we'd gone at our original time, we would have gotten it. So let's get straight into it and let's share up the screen because Aston Villa's team is announced. And we have Emi Martinez in goals, Konsa, Diego Carlos, Pau, Dina, Bailey, Kamara, Douglas Luiz, McGinn, Diaby and Watkins. No prisoners being taken today.
Zero.
No prisoners being taken whatsoever. On the bench, we have Olsen, Marshall, Cash, Tielemans, Traore, Chambers, Duran, Revan, and Feeney. So the two young guys that got called up there in the absence of Coutinho. And do you know what's really interesting, Paddy? No Leo Dendoncker again.
Well, Dendoncker is injured. What's really interesting is Zaniolo. Zaniolo has been talked about all week, and he's not there either. But I don't know what's wrong with Dendoncker, but he hasn't trained as far as I know. So who knows what's happened there? But no Zaniolo in the matchday squads, despite the fact that he featured on socials. So that's a little bit disappointing, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, there's a couple of people asking here, is he still injured? No, he's been training with Galatasaray for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been told anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just a match fitness thing. I think Unai said, let's go out and put this one to bed today, and we'll worry about the second leg when we have to worry about the second leg, but let's make sure we've got a buffer when we're doing that. I would imagine. Other people that are missing there as well as Cameron Archer, people are asking about. Yeah, news broke today. 19 million, I think it is, to Sheffield United with a buyback clause. More business from the club from that point of view. To me, it can, and hey, look, I don't know anything other than what you guys know, but to me, that's max of Villa will be signing another attacker. There's no way in the wide earthly world we can go into the season with Watkins and Gerrard. Not a hope. But anyway, that's all for another day, for another day's conversation. I suppose the man, Paddy, that's been shown there in the big in the starting 11, Diego Carlos. He's the man that I'm really looking forward to seeing today. Delighted he's getting minutes in there, and it's interesting that Konsa has been moved out to the right, and that he's gone with Konsa out on the right because this seems like it's going to be something to it's going to be something he's going to kind of stick with, moving Konsa out there when he needs to. You'd think maybe for a game like this, he might have started Chambers out there and given Konsa a rest, but that's not the case. It's obviously not the case when we look at the team sheet.
Is he playing Konsa on the right, or is he playing a back three with Dina further on though? That's
I don't know. I know.
We'll have to wait till the lineup till we see it. But I like I said last night, this could be really, really attacking, and that could be how he's decided to attack Hibs today. So we could see a back three as opposed to a back five, or a back four, I should say. But it may not be as well, obviously. But I'm just advocating about that.
I just doubt it. If anybody hasn't seen what I put up on Twitter, playing a back three wouldn't really make any difference to it. But I think Unai is so focused on the way that we attack at the moment. If you haven't seen my tweet on Twitter earlier on today, I'm going to shamelessly plug it, as my little girl has decided to come in here and jump all around the back in the background. So if anybody does hear her, you know what's going on. But I'm just going to quit out of that there. Sorry. But yeah, so like Unai Emery wants to attack with a front five essentially in transition in that W formation. If you haven't seen it already, go back and look at it. I give a breakdown via video. But playing the back three wouldn't exactly hinder that. But I just find it difficult to believe he's going to do that in a European game when he didn't even do it once in preseason. There was no trying it at all in preseason. Like,
Yeah, well, look, you could be right. I'm just suggesting that could be the situation, but with chances are it is a back four. It is Konza at right back, and it is Dina at left back. And look, there's no harm to see them getting minutes in the tank at that level and seeing what they're up against in what's going to be no doubt a tough enough contest for those involved.
Yeah,
especially
I think
starting off the game.
Yeah, and at Easter Road, I presume the sun is splitting the rocks over there. Some of the photos I've seen.
It sure is. The sunshine on Leith today for sure, and I hope the
what a
sunshine is
great
not
song!
shining. It's not shining on Hibs, I hope.
Yeah, and what a great song that is as well. And I'm actually
Brilliant
looking
song.
forward to hearing the Hibs fans belt that out before the game. I'm looking forward to hearing that. But yeah, a very sunny day out there today. A lot of Hibs fans will have earmarked this, as I say. It's going to be a packed stadium there, and this is going to be a good atmosphere, regardless of whether Villa bring it or not. This is going to be a good atmosphere today, and Villa need to kill the excitement. Although I don't think they will, because I think Hibs are kind of aware. It's like a case of, yeah, it's going to be a giant killing if it happens today. If they happen to get a result today, but it's over 2 legs. They are underdogs, and they're massive underdogs based on the lineups there. As we mentioned previously, they're going to go with a back three of a Man United reserve who's on loan with them, Paul Hanlon, and then Lewis Stevenson, who, albeit has the bones of 500 games played for Hibs, is 35 years of age. So there's going to be
Paul
legs
Hanlon
there.
is over 500 games as well.
Yeah. And Lee Johnson, as we mentioned in the podcast last night, this is actually going to be his 500th game in charge in management, which is bonkers. He's 10 years managing, and I think he's only about 40. It's ridiculous.
42, Lee Johnson.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's mad. 500 games at that level. Much not as we were slagging him. That's some achievement. It is some achievement from him.
At that age, is an incredible achievement.
Yeah. It's but look, as I say, it's up to us now to poop his party today.
Yeah, and look, there's no reason why we shouldn't. Do you want to see if you can pull up the Hibs team? There's no surprises in there, is there?
I completely forgot all about the Hibs team. I'm going to be really honest with
you. You go and work on that there while I tell everybody it's 4,745 days since we played in Europe. How bonkers is that?
That's long. That's a long time ago.
That's just a couple of days short of 13 years. And the last time we played in Europe, Rihanna was number 1 with "I Love the Way You Lie." Imagine that.
Look, you come here for our beautiful faces, and you stay for the brilliant trivia like that, don't you? Yeah. Here's the Hibs team. David Marshall in goals, Miller, Hanlon, and Fish. So, Miller, Hanlon, Fish, Yuan, and Venter, the 2 strikers. Boyle is also an attacking player. Newell midfielder. Stevenson will probably be played in defence as opposed to in midfield. Obita will be. So it looks like it's going to be Miller and Obita, I think, are going to be the 2 wing backs. And it looks like it's a strong team. It's as strong as they could have gone with. But they've also gone with a very attacking feel to it there, because, as I say, Yuan, Vente, and Boyle are all strikers. Like Boyle, we didn't even mention him last night, Aussie international. And still being called up by Australia. So he's somebody that we need to look out for as well. But yeah, he's going for it, sure, as they say here in Ireland.
And the reason Boyle isn't rolling off the tongue is probably a bit of recency bias, because he's been out injured and he missed the World Cup last year, so that's why he hasn't really been spoken about. But he's their danger man. He does pull the strings at SPL level. Whether he can do it at this level or not is another story. What we've got to do is make sure that these are penned back enough that we don't have to worry about the 3 guys breaking together. If they break together, that's where they're going to hurt us. That is definitely where they're going to hurt us. That's their troublesome part of their lineup that we need to be on our toes, let's say. And it's times like these you wish you had Tyrone Mings in the team, but I envisage a high line. There's plenty of room for mistakes in behind there. Hibs have a little bit of history in shortening and narrowing the pitch as well, so it'll be interesting to have a look and see if there's any traces of white lines either at the end of the pitch or the side of the pitch. So have a look out for that when the game kicks off today.
Yeah. It looks mad. It looks like they've got about 15 different players on the bench just because they all have such long names. They have 12 named in the bench, which is it is what it is. But let's go and find Aston Villa's team because people who've just joined, because as we've said, the admin on Villa's site had a mayor. He released it way too early. So there's our team with our paltry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 subs is all we named. 9 subs,
Well,
would you believe?
I think we have to be aware. I think we have to be aware of this now, because if you look at the time, obviously that's the time that this needs to be released. Because obviously we'd still be waiting here on both teams to be releasing their team. So it's obviously an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff. So we'll be going with earlier team sheet tantrums in Europe this year, by the looks of it.
An hour and 25 minutes, Paddy. That's what it is.
What was it? Yeah.
We were, yeah. Because we were only supposed to be going live a quarter. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
At 25
right,
too, yeah.
So it was half past, an hour and 15. Sorry, an hour and 15. So this is our team: Martinez, Conza, Diego Carlos, Pau Torres, Dina, Bailey, Kamara, Douglas Luiz, McGinn, Diaby, and Watkins. Like bits and pieces of me are disappointed Tielemans isn't in there. I don't see a reason why you don't have somebody like Tielemans in there, other than you want to put this to bed, and we'll see rolling substitutions on 50 minutes, 60 minutes, and we'll see you can use 5 subs in the European competition, can't you, Paddy?
Of course, yeah.
That's
a worldwide rule now.
Worldwide ruling now, yeah. So
yeah.
I'd imagine all 5 subs will be used. It's going to be interesting to see if Seb Revan gets a game. If they bring him in at left back, give Dina a break, because that's going to be interesting, because he's somebody that we might just be discounting as not staying around the squad, and maybe he is. Who knows?
Maybe he is. Yeah, I honestly have no idea whether he's going to. Like, it would suggest that these people will need to have adequate amount to sit on the subs bench, because we need to have a certain amount of homegrown players, as we've discussed at nauseum in the past. So the likes of Archer moving on, Philogene Badace moving on, allegedly, all of these things point towards the likes of Seb Revan, and I thought we would have saw the likes of Tommy O'Reilly today, but he's not there either. But we will need these people around the squad. I have to say the team has given me a little bit more calm. All day I had thoughts in the back of my head of Bradford and Stevenage and days like that I never want to see again, and I should know better that Unai certainly wouldn't have put us in that situation today after what happened in Stevenage.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And even that team against Stevenage was still a strong team. That was still a strong team. So there's no excuse for that team losing the way that they did in such acrimonious circumstances, I suppose you call it. It's 400 people watching this. If you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up. Drives the algorithm mad. It's fantastic. That's what we love to see as well. And also, if you aren't subscribed to the podcast, please subscribe. Paddy, who are you most looking forward to seeing today? I kind of want, I said Diego Carlos there, but I also want Leon Bailey to go and have a field day and to build in it, because he is the most confidence-based player I think I've ever seen at Aston Villa. Ever. He needs to be humming, and everything needs to be going right for him. For him to be going right, and it's not a trait that I want in every single player on my team, because I think it's a recipe for disaster if you've got too many of those within the group. But the more confident we can get him, the better he's going to play. So I'm actually really happy he's starting today.
Yeah, and look, I think for players like him and Diaby, they could potentially have a field day here today. They're the kind of guys that are capable of turning this defence inside out. So if today is a day where he goes on and scores a goal and sets up 2, then it's a worthwhile operation having him in there and putting him completely on the front foot going into the games that are coming ahead, and maybe resting him next week. Now, I know I'm not. It sounds like I'm discounting the chances that Hibs have. I'm basing that on the fact that they've had a poor enough start to the season. They're not a great team. I don't mean any disrespect. They're not a great side, and they're certainly not up to the level that we're at. And if we're firing on all cylinders with the players he's picked today, there's absolutely no reason why we're not going to go and win this game 4-0.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that this should be put to bed tonight. There's no
Yeah,
excuse for this not to be put to bed tonight. And I think it will be, and I think we'll come out hot, and I think we'll come out, we'll score goals early. Um, I expect early goals here today. Usually, I say I'm more hopeful than expectant. I expect early goals today. I don't expect this to be a squirty 1-0 win. Now, and that's no disrespect to Hibs. Like everybody knows, I have a real soft spot for Hibs. But it's no disrespect to them. It's about Aston Villa being or behaving like a team that should be going to win this whole bloody competition. Never mind just getting into the group stages. We should be going to win the whole bloody thing. So if we're to do that, we put this to bed professionally and efficiently early on in the first leg. Now it's a game of football at the same. It's not always going to be easy, but the talent is there. The manager is there. There's no reason why our best football team, which arguably we've got out there today, shouldn't go and be up against Hibs at halftime and comfortably up 2-0 at halftime. You know,
absolutely,
and that
100%.
that might be overly I suppose simplistic of me, but I'm expecting goals in this game.
Yeah, and we've no reason not to be. It's also a big day for Ollie Watkins, who hasn't hit the same standards as he did at the end
Yes.
of last season. So it's a good opportunity for him to go and get himself on the score sheet and get himself up and running for the season. So there's a lot to look forward to in this game, and I expect nothing more than multiple goals and hopefully a clean sheet and to build morale and get us set up for the weekend and for the games ahead. And finish the job next week, hopefully in front of our home fans of Villa Park and create a bit of an atmosphere. But yeah, look, the sun is shining. It's great to be back in European football. Everybody, I think, is buzzing for this. It's a little bit unfortunate that the game is on so early because people are working. Like I have a meeting now at 5 o'clock that I need to go into. So what can you do? It's one of those where you just have to do your best to go to get to see it. But yeah, I don't expect anything less than a decent win.
Yeah, I'm the same. So Boom Gamer asks, is the game on radio? BBC West Midlands will have the game are carrying the game on radio. BBC Scotland and BBC iPlayer are carrying it within the UK and Ireland, and in the US, I think Paramount Plus somebody said was carrying it in the US. So that's where you can find this game as well.
Are we able to watch iPlayer in Ireland yet?
No, well, you are if you have a VPN. Same as everything else, Paddy. Same as everything else. Yeah, but you can get it on BBC Scotland anyway. I think you can tune into BBC Scotland if you go to the manual tuner on your Skybox. So you're not at the risk of a Bobby knocking to your door, like for watching BBC Scotland. So you'll be fine. But yeah, it's a couple of people asking to know what you do for a living. Paddy said that you've got a meeting at 5 o'clock.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Wouldn't you like to know? That's right. Wouldn't you like to know? So, if anybody want to pop in their results or what they feel the result is going to be there, and I'll do a quick rundown of results as well before we go. While you're doing that, I'm also going to. There's someone else I want to talk about here as well. We've spoken ad nauseum about it, but we actually didn't even mention it. All pile in the team sheet tantrum. But John McGinn going home today. Well, St Mirren is really is where he really started out, if I'm not mistaken, and then on to Hibs. But Hibs is obviously the club whereby he gained his notoriety and had a big decision to make to come to Aston Villa. And at the time, Villa being in the Championship and Celtic all over McGinn like an absolute rash trying to sign him, and he made the uncommon decision, I suppose, for some players to not go to Celtic and went down to the Championship, backed himself, and look where he is now, captaining a team in Europe. Longest serving player out in the field there today for the club, and fair play to him. Great credit to the club as well. Never you never have to worry about him being on the front pages of newspapers. So it's fair play to him. Real credit to the club. Real credit to
absolutely,
both clubs.
And a big day for the McGinn family too, given that both his brothers both played for Hibs as well. Yeah. The family would all be entwined in the club, and no matter what you speak to any Hibs fan, they've got nothing but nice things to say about John McGinn. They all absolutely adore him up there, and not one person begrudges what he's gone on to do. He's absolutely set the world on fire down in Birmingham, obviously, and with his national team. So I hope today is a nice celebration for him to be back where it all began. And when I say all began, I mean at that level. Obviously, St. Mirren would be a level below, and where he played all the schoolboy football. But I hope for him it's a really good day for him and his family. And the most important thing today is that we get the win and we come out without any more injuries. We could really do without another person on the treatment table.
Absolutely. So a couple of scores coming up here. Sai is going for 6-0. Captain Nuggets going for 3-0 Villa. Michael Richards going for 3-0 Villa. Be Happy going for 4-0 Villa. Really Random Reviews 4-0 Villa. Mr. Sensible 3-1 Villa. Habs Rackman going for 5-0. Stephen going for 4-1. Rayleigh going for 5-0. Paul Gilson going for 3-0. Daniel Donnelly going for 3-0. Michael Smith 3-1 with them scoring first. C. Line is going for 4-0 Villa. 6-1 Villa says Jet. Tom Ryan says 2-0 Villa. Gaz Oak says 4-1 and Fish scores for Hibs. Gaz, I've been slyly laughing and smiling at your comments. Don't think I didn't see the fish puns, and I do like them. A hat tip to you there, guys. Your efforts didn't go unnoticed, put it that way. Kieran O'Callaghan says 5-1. Paul Welford says 7-0 to Villa. Western Nude says 3-0. Michael Huggins says 3+0. Dan Hayes says, I expect nothing less than a good win. 2-1 loss incoming. John Griffin says 3-0 Villa. Matthew Lang says 3-0 Villa. Quinlan says 4-1. Dan Donnelly says 3-0 Villa. Steve 24/7 says 3-0 with McGinn, Watkins and Zaniolo. Zaniolo won't be scoring, unfortunately, but we hope that McGinn and Watkins do score. John says 3-0 to Villa. John Steele says 5-0 Villa. Michael O'Brien says 4-0 Villa. Shootings Tweed says 3-0 Villa. Matt Parker says 3-0 Villa. Rahab says Diaby hat-trick in her mauling. James Cartwright is just going for a calm 82-0 today. Pete Still says 4-2 Villa. Harry Nelson says 2-1 Hibs. Kieran Larkin says 4-0, including some injury time filth from Bertie. Audrey says 3-0 to Villa. Cat Cannon says 5-0. Where else are we? Jared Corwin says 4-0 Villa. Paul Cox says 5-2. Richard Taylor says 3-0. Lee Walker says 2-1. Ozgerm says 4-0. The McBee says 4-1. Jake Aston Villa says 4-0. Gav Donnelly says 4-0. Pierre O'Dowd says 3-0 with the Abbey double and Watkins. Tony from Belfast says 3-0 Villa. Alan Watson says 12-0 Hibs. 5-1 says Gaz. Master P says 3-0. Adam S says 10-0 Villa. Master P says maybe 2 then afterwards. Lee Brown says 3-0. Danny Harvey says 3-0. Paul Merson says 3-0. Diaby says 4-1. Supernaut says 2-0. Daniel Delaney says 2-0. Brad Bennett says 4-1. CC says 3-0. Dream Villain says 5-0. Brendan Miller says 4-0. And Owen McMahon says 4-0 with a McGinn double. Oh, they're still coming. 4-0 Watkins Brace says Kevin Donnelly. 3-2 says Wayne Walker Cass. And Joshua Fowler says 6-1 Villa. Whew, there's a lot of scores there. Thank you so much for popping them in. Really appreciate it. Paddy has to go into a meeting.
I think the general consensus is that we're heading for a big win today, and that 4,745 days will be worth the wait, considering that the last time we played in Europe, the Chilean miners were still stuck down the mine. So that's how long ago it was. There's people listening to this that don't even remember that, I'm sure. So here we are. After waiting all that time, I'm going into my meeting and I'm going to love you and leave you, and I want to be
absolutely
hopefully home in front of my television by 5:45.
And like you, I'm going to leave you as well, guys, because I got to go in and have a bite to eat before this game. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching and listening. We'll be back directly at the final whistle. Come join us here. It's up on YouTube already. Just click on the link, subscribe to us, and you'll be able to see it in there, and you'll be able to join us. Bang on the final whistle. See you then. Enjoy the game. Stay safe, stay healthy, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.